2024 didn't treat you as well as you thought it would. In 2025, we're going to talk about the one thing you're going to need to be successful. Stick with us. Hey everyone, John here. 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 Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everyone, John here. Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. And welcome to 2025. This year is going to be incredible. And one of the things that I always like to do at the beginning of every year is come up with a word of the year. And anyone who has been around me for any length of time knows that I carry this word with me all throughout the year. I write it up on my boards. I put it on my mirror. I got it at the beginning of my journals. I mean, this is like my theme for the entire year. And I don't really spend a lot of time thinking about the word. It just comes to me. And it has been that way for, I don't know, at least the last 4 or 5 years. I found that if I get too focused on, oh man, what's my word of the year going to be? What's my word of the year going to be? It ends up really not meaning much as it should. So I just let it come naturally, whether it's through my journaling, maybe something that I listen to, somebody that has said something inspirational to me that I value their opinion, or sometimes it just pops in my head. I don't know how to explain it, but I would encourage you, now is the time. Pick a word, maybe it's a phrase for you that is going to help you get a head start and keep the momentum going into 2025. It's been one of my probably top 5 best things that I do to kick off the new year. And today we're going to talk about the word that I chose for 2025. One of the things as I was journaling about this particular opener, we're starting a new season, starting a new year, starting new opportunities, you name it, we are starting new beginnings. I always like to continue forward the momentum, but as we get into every new year, there are always this energy around getting things going. We've told ourselves we're going to wait till the beginning of the new year. Guess what? It's here. So let's get going today. First, I want to welcome all those new listeners and thank you for the continued listeners out there for moving into the new year with us. New year, new possibilities, new beginnings, new frontiers. Maybe that's a new job for you. Maybe that's a new college experience. Maybe that's a new business. Maybe that's just a new you, which good for you. Good for you for taking the chance and betting on yourself. Because if we can't trust ourselves, who can we trust? So let's get into my word of 2025. And the word that I chose this year was perspective. I always like to first just lay the foundation of what perspective is, the definition of perspective. So I Googled this, I put it into ChatGPT, and it popped out a couple different definitions. But here's the one that I came up with, I put together. So perspective is a way in which we interpret a situation, an event, or a concept. And it's influenced, and this is what gets us in trouble with perspective. It's influenced by our experiences, our beliefs, and our background. And I wanted to include the second part there of what influences our perspective. This is where a lot of times I hear people say, I'm stuck. I'm confused. I don't know where to go from here. I don't know how to get started. What do I do? And a lot of that is influenced by our past experiences. Maybe our perspective of starting a new business or a new adventure is we failed in the past. So is that going to impact us? Is it going to influence our decision to do that again? Heck yeah, it is. Or maybe it's I want to move. I want a new life. I want new beginnings. And we've tried that in the past, and it didn't go so well. Maybe you're in there right now where that was what you did for 2024, and now you're in a lease or you're stuck in a job, whatever that looks like for you, and you feel like you're like handcuffed to the situation, right? And if you've experienced that in the past, yeah, your perspective is going to be a little bit different. And no matter how much I tell you, go for it, trust in yourself, do it messy, that is going to impact your willingness to take that first step. That's why I picked this word. That's why it was special and unique for me. So I would encourage you to think about that as you choose a word for 2025. What does it mean? It has to mean something to you. It has to be one of those words or phrases that in 6 months, when somebody asks you, what's your secret to success? I've noticed a big change in you. What are you doing? You can point to that word, perspective. I decided to be intentional about my perspective on the way that I look at current situations, context, my relationships. That's what perspective means to me. I took a quote from one of my favorite authors and researchers, Brené Brown. If you haven't had the opportunity to look at any of her books or research any of her findings, do it. Brené Brown, I was introduced to her probably, about 10 years ago, and we were doing some organizational work, some health kind of indexes with organizations, looking at their organizational health, what we could do, core values, operationalizing those values. And Brené does a great job in her book, Dare to Lead. I would highly encourage, check it out if you got some time. Put it on your list. Hey everyone, John here. I wanted to jump on and quickly talk about my Kickstart the New Year Challenge. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you got a lot of irons in the fire and you're not really progressing, you're not getting anywhere, maybe you feel lost. I know I did. And over the past decade, I have been working on a coaching program to help myself, and now I want to give it to you. Head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, sign up. You're not going to want to miss it. You owe it to yourself to kickstart the new year. Get going now. Don't wait till January 1 when everybody else is going. Get ahead of the game. You owe it to yourself. Go be great. But her quote here, and it fits perfect with this word, perspective. Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. It requires perspective and courage. That gives me goosebumps as I read that, because it's an important part of how we as leaders, we as mothers and fathers and grandparents, community leaders, business owners, students, whatever season of life that you are in, how do you innovate? Are you creative? How do you change? It's based on your perspective and having the courage to get it done. So for me, my word of the year is perspective. And as we kick off this season, we're going to talk a lot around mind shift, habits, consistency, momentum, how to change, how to make sure that you're investing in yourself continually. Because when we are at the best version of ourselves, That's when I believe we have the best perspective to go help others. How many of you out there may be struggling right now? It's just not a good time to start something new. That feeling of treading water, that feeling of barely staying afloat, that feeling of living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe it's that feeling of being stuck. I've been there. And I can remember I didn't have the perspective. I didn't have the belief in myself that there was a way out, that there was something different out there for me, that I was meant to do bigger things. And that all ties back to the perspective that I had. Remember, part of what influences perspective is our experiences. So if you're out there and you're in your 20s, and even in my 30s, I hadn't yet got the experience to understand that this too shall pass. That's the great thing about perspective. We don't have to know it all. You don't have to be 100% certain about the outcome of the situation. If you have the perspective to just get going and everything else will work itself out, that comes from experience. That comes from a lot of understanding in what my limitations or what I told myself my limitations were, and then breaking through the ceiling and getting to where I wanted to be. And I still struggle with that. I'm not perfect, but every day I get 1% better. I get a little more experience. I get a little better understanding of who I am and where I am going. And that's all about the word perspective. Life is not going to be nice to you. It's just not. It's going to throw you a curveball when you least expect it. You may be on top of that mountain right now, living the best life that you have lived. What are you doing to continue that? What are you doing to make sure that if someone tries to knock you off that mountain, you're going to get right back up? That's perspective. Maintain perspective on life. And it's not all fairy tales and unicorns. Perspective is about understanding where you're at in your current state and having that vulnerability to dream bigger, having that vulnerability to be creative, having that vulnerability to make a change even when it seems impossible. That's what perspective means to me. So I'm excited about this season. I'm excited about this time of year. Everybody, there's a buzz of energy around you. You talk to people and they have goals. They have dreams. It's a new beginning. We're turning over that leaf. And there's nothing better. I absolutely love the fact that everybody out there in the Go Be Great community, together we are stronger. And that starts with the individual and their perspective on life. So do your homework. Choose a word of the year. Put it everywhere. You're not going to forget it. You're not going to see it in 6 months when somebody asks you, man, what are you doing? What's the secret to success? You pop out that word. Keep it in your purse. Keep it in your billfold. Keep it as a daily reminder who you are and what you are doing in this year. You're going to be the best version of yourself. I just know it. I believe in you. Stick with us this season. There's a lot of great episodes. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Go out and follow all the platforms. We're just getting started, Go Be Great community. Happy New Year. Go Be Great. Talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor. Click on that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great.